Feelings that you might have in your first few weeks of moving abroad that you might not be expecting. But these things, they are completely normal. Hi, my name's Amber. I just moved to South Australia and I've been here nearly a month. I've moved here with my partner on a permanent residency visa. And there are a few things that I didn't expect to feel that I did that I thought I'd share with you so that you know it's normal, and I'll give you some tips on how I got through it. And hopefully it'll just make you realise that it's fine, you don't need to panic, it's completely normal. So moving abroad is a pretty big thing to do, whether that's moving to Europe from the UK or to Australia, or from Europe to Australia. This is something that we can all relate to. So over the last few weeks, I've already met a lot of people that have moved here in a similar situation, and they've all related to these things or said similar. So I thought I would just share them with you. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, I've done vlogs on my first few weeks here, and I'm going to be uploading loads more, so I'd love it if you could join this community and subscribe and like. For me especially, I'd never even been to Australia. I'd done loads of research and I knew it was a place that I wanted to go. So if you're like me, you've never been to the country that you're going to live in, you might find it harder than if you've travelled there lots too. Now, the first point is when you leave and you say goodbye to all of your family and get on the plane, you might be surprised that you're not feeling as excited or energetic as you thought you might feel. You might think that you're going to go to the airport and it's going to be this big celebration send-off. Actually, that might not be the reality. In fact, you've just packed up your whole home and you feel completely exhausted and overwhelmed. You've said goodbye to lots of people, maybe all at the same time, maybe separately, and you've just said goodbye to your loved ones at the airport. They might be really upset and they might be acting a bit funny. Maybe things haven't gone quite how you thought they would. Just said goodbye to all your friends and you've got on the plane and you're not feeling all the positivity that you wanted to. You're sitting on the plane and you're feeling extremely tired, emotionally drained. I personally struggled to sleep the week before because we had so much to do, and the overlooming thought of, am I doing the right thing? I'm saying goodbye to everything I know to try something completely new. And of course, you might have a lot of children that you're trying to pack onto the plane with you, and that could be another stressful factor. Now, it's surprising how many people have actually felt this way, the people I've spoken to, when they've left the country and they're on the plane feeling actually rather drained. I think you need to be prepared to tell yourself that you're doing the right thing and just repeat that in your head. Try and get some sleep in the plane and try and do something nice for yourself, like buy yourself that gin on the plane or get a nice coffee. I know a lot of people will upgrade to business class. I didn't do this personally, or premium economy, just to make the experience a bit more exciting. I thought it was going to be this big thing where I got to the airport and it was like, oh, celebration, and then at the other end, like, oh, big, oh, we've got here. In fact, it wasn't really like that. I just couldn't wait to get to where I was going to go and go to sleep. So the second thing is that you might be so overwhelmed that you have lots of regrets and panic on that plane. Have I done the right thing? Should we be doing this? Just remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing and look forward to spending some quality time with your loved one or on your own or with your family when you get there. The other side to this is you might actually feel like, I now can't wait to get away from my family and friends because their emotion has been way too much, and that's fine and that's completely normal too. The third thing is when you arrive, you feel extremely overwhelmed, you feel like you're a bit lost, you don't know what's going on, because you're not just there to have a holiday, you're there to settle down and you've got lots of things to sort out. It can be a lot going around in your head, especially if you're moving to Australia. Everything can seem so similar but different, and that's also a really weird feeling to have, and that's a feeling I found. You walk around the shopping centre, nobody knows who you are, nobody even knows you've made this great big move, and everyone's just getting on with their lives. And it kind of feels like you don't exist, especially like when we were here on a bank holiday. Everyone was going about their daily business, having family gatherings, and it was like, oh, it's just us. But again, that's completely normal. And you may also not feel like you're actually on the other side of the world, especially, again, in Australia, where everything is so similar. You might not feel like that. Obviously, if you're moving to like Asia or Europe where there's significant differences, you might have those challenges as well of navigating language or other things like that. So the fourth thing is you might have a whole list of things that you think you need to sort out, and you actually find they take a lot longer than you thought, or you're moving slower than you thought, and actually you've got bits done, but the day has zoomed past and you haven't done as much as you wanted, or you haven't gone to the beach as much as you wanted, and you haven't explored at the same time. Just remember that it's not a big rush and you've got all the time in the world now to go out and enjoy these places that are around you because you now live there. Now, the fifth thing is that you might start to argue with your partner or your family that you've moved in, or just bicker a bit when you maybe normally wouldn't. And that's because nobody is in control, nobody feels in control, and nobody has the answers to everything. If you're moving on your own, that might turn into anxiety or feelings of overwhelm because it's not in your control, and that's completely normal again. Moving has put a massive pressure on your relationships, and you only have each other to turn to. And sometimes we can get frustrated and we can say things in a way that come out the wrong way or in an emotional way. I always say if you can travel together and if you can move to the other side of the world together, then you'll be fine. I took confidence that we have travelled to over 20 countries together in 4 years, and we've navigated quite a lot of dramas and issues and worked really well together, so that I just knew that this would still be fine and we would get through it no matter what. So number 6, now again, this is when all of the above things I've already mentioned just make you feel really anxious or overwhelmed, and therefore make you think, have I done the right thing? I just want to be back with my friends and family where everything is easy. And I had these thoughts which are not like me at all. Would it have been easier just to stay at home and had the life I had before? But then I just had to tell myself, no, I was really unhappy in my job. I've wanted to do this for so long, and sometimes the easiest things are not always the best things. And sometimes the hardest things bring the most reward. Number 7, this is one of the big ones because you're jet lagged. Now, my friend told me don't make any decisions in the first 3 weeks because you will be jet lagged. However, we did do some travel on the way, so that was helpful. But being jet lagged means that your mind is confused and your body is confused. You might not know what time to eat and what to eat. We walked into the supermarket and I wasn't even that jet lagged, but in my mind I was like, I've been told everything's expensive and I'm in a different country, even though everything is fairly similar. I didn't know what to buy, and I'm still a bit confused going around the supermarket, to be honest, of what meals to have. I ended up Googling what do Australians eat, and it just said the same things, like spag bowl and just general like meals that we'd have in Britain. Also part of this is just that you're really tired and your body is tired and needs more sleep. You might need just get up a little bit later or go to bed earlier. But then on the flip side of that, you might also find that going from it being dark, especially if you've left like the UK in the winter, where it's dark basically all day, to suddenly it's light at night, but everybody's saying that everyone gets up early to beat the heat. You don't know whether to get up early and go for a run or just have a sleep and then stay out later and go enjoy the evening sunshine. One day it was 43 degrees and it just felt criminal to go to bed at a normal time when there was this beautiful summer evening. It felt like we should be staying outside and enjoying it. But remember that in a country like Australia, that's going to happen quite frequently where there's warm evenings. Number 8 is that you don't get everything right. You might accidentally buy the more expensive brand of food or a really expensive thing in the shops, or you might not get quite what you wanted. You're also not sure if you've chosen the best area to live, especially when you've never been there before. And there's just a lot going on. Whatever happens, just remember you can learn from it, and you don't have to have everything right straight away. Now, maybe these are some things that you have related to or that might come up for you. So these are some tips that I use to get through. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at all, and I still am having wobbles. Of course, I've not even been here for 4 weeks yet. But these are just some of the things that I have done or my friends have helped me with. Now, firstly, like I said, with the emotions, you're going to be quite drained when you leave, and you really need to find a way to just decompress. So we were only a couple, we haven't got any kids. So what we did is we went to Thailand, and I'm so glad we did that. We just did that on the way. So if you can, factor in a trip just for a few nights, because when else are you going to get that much time where both you and your partner are potentially unemployed and don't have to use annual leave? Even if you go to Bali for a few days, Thailand, Singapore, or something on the way to your travels, or even just book in somewhere nice to stay when you first get there, so you're not immediately having to think about moving into your house. Obviously, if you've got children, that might not be an option, but there is, and lots of people do that. So I'd say do that and book a nice hotel. Don't plan anything for 2 or 3 days. We just went to Thailand and we stayed in the old town. We stayed there for 2 or 3 days, just chilling out, to be honest. No plans. And then we did actually stay there for another week or so. And then we spent 3 nights in Malaysia. And obviously you don't have to do that, but I just think it's such a great opportunity. Why not? But I just really found that we needed some sleep and I just couldn't wait. As soon as we got on that plane, I just wanted to get in a nice fresh duvet cover in a lovely hotel, put the aircon on, have a shower and get cosy. Another solution is don't be afraid to lean on your friends back home, the sort of friends that have been there for you and have got your back. So, you know, they're the ones that have been encouraging you to go and be really selfless about it. And whether you voice note them, send them a long ranty message, or just try and arrange a call quite early on, and they will remind you of all the reasons that you're doing what you're doing and tell you that they're proud of you and make you realise that your feelings are completely valid and to be kind to yourself. And also then you won't feel as far away from them too. The next tip is if that you're really overwhelmed with how much you've got to do and it's just not good for you and it's stressing you all out as a family, just do the basics you need to do. Whether that's making sure you've just got a little bit of food in the fridge and a bed. For example, we just went and got a small food shop. It was going to be way too overwhelming on our first day to do a big food shop. Just get a few little things and don't worry that you spent too much money or whatever. And get yourself out for a walk down the beach or to a lovely cafe. Trust me, one of the other tips I have is that if you go to some of the cafes in Australia, you'll feel immediately better when you see the choice of brunch, lunch, coffees, drinks. It just makes you excited and you'll feel much better, especially if you're a foodie like me. Just take that time to chill out and you'll realise why you're here. And then worry about those other things another day. As long as you get like your tax file number sorted, you'll be fine. And along with those cafes, make sure you just treat yourself a little bit. You might think, oh, well, I'm not on holiday, so I have to eat really healthily. Well, just sod that for a few days. Go to lovely bakeries, get yourself a pie, go and get a cake, go and try a nice coffee with your favourite syrup in it, because they will make you feel at home and happy, and that's what you really need right now to sustain this. Personally, I've been really excited by all the flavours of Freddos that you can get here and seeing all the different chocolates and snacks, and yeah, that makes me happy. And lastly, if you're a tea drinker and you're from the UK, just buy some English tea. I didn't think I'd drink much tea here, but actually, I've been taking great comfort in a cup of tea in the afternoon or the evenings. I just think it's nice even when it's hot. When you're sat in with the aircon on, you just have a nice cup of tea and it just makes everything better and everything goes down well. And I guess the last big tip is wherever you are, just drink loads of water, because if you're hydrated, you will feel better in yourself. My skin, it was awful by the time I'd done all those plane rides and after all of the stress. But yeah, just drinking tons of water so you're at least hydrated will make you feel much better. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that somewhat relatable or useful, or it might just prepare you for things that might come up when you do move. Please just comment, like or subscribe, and if you've got any tips for anybody else and you've been through this yourself, I would really love that if you could comment as well. And any tips for long term, so we've only been here a month, so if you've got any tips for me of when the honeymoon period washes off, like how to sustain your life abroad, please share them with me. Thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed my videos already, and I'm going to be sharing more content about useful things, how we found our rental, all the little bits of admin that you might need to do or consider when you're here. And I'll be taking you along on some vlogs as well, so I would love to have you here, and thanks so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.